Alec, Yanisko and Joe Delvecchio were best friends. They had been together since childhood. Hardly was there any person in their surrounding who did not know about their unbreakable bond. Soon, the entire world came to know about their amazing friendship. But what actually happened that they became famous so suddenly? The day in question, both the boys raced towards the highly defamed forest on their ATVs. Instead of going inside, they sat at the edge of the jungle and started chatting. Just when they were about to leave, their eyes caught something strange hiding behind the woods. With their hearts in their mouth, they entered the enigmatic forest where they found something that ultimately made the police question them.
Before we begin, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
Alec, Yanisko, who was 15 years old, and Joe Delvecchio, who was 18-year-old, had the age gap of 3 years between them. Despite that, the two were too mature to understand and keep each other's secrets. However, in their list of secrets, one thing more was about to be added that they could not keep a secret for a longer time. It is a county in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania. This region is famous for its peaceful and beautiful environment. The region was created in 1878 and since then had been housing hundreds of people, if not in thousands. You might agree that sometimes beautiful things are hiding the ugliest truth. This was exactly the case here. The small county was indeed concealing something that came to light when these two boys planned on going on a ride. No time was perfect for riding on their ATVs than the darkening evening. That day too, they set out of their home to steer their vehicle. It was March of 2017 and the weather that was usually hot in the day had taken a pleasant form. Every time the sun was about to fall into darkness, the friends would come out of their house and take to the road leading into woods. The county is surrounded by woods. In fact, every house had their backyard opening up to the woods. It is because of that the residents sometimes used to find wild creatures inside their home, but they had got accustomed to it and they also had learned how to deal with it. Alec and Joe were not the only ones who used to ride their ATVs on the serpentine road opening into the woods of county. There were many others too. Usually, a group of ATV riders would drive towards the ignored and hence underestimated jungle. However, as the fate had it, there were only two of them. Surprisingly, no one showed up that particular day, but they decided to go on. The boys took their vehicle out of the garage and informed their mother that they are going to the woods. However, their mother did not like them going to the jungle at that point of time, as the dense forest was also a hub of anti-social people. Every now and then news carrying the horrifying crimes transpired in the woods would penetrate this peaceful town. They even forbade them a number of times. But the two, being teenagers, would never listen to them. The day was different. It was soon going to dark and the sun had turned red, coloring the sky into crimson. Everything was looking beautiful, making it worth a day to do fun stuff. Much to their surprise, the road was all empty that particular day. Who would want to stay inside when the outer world is so beautiful? Definitely not these two boys. Nevertheless, it was a good thing for the boys. Now, they had enough space to turn their motor in whatever direction they wanted. The two decided to race to the point where the road ends and the forest begins. However, they had no idea that there was something in that enigmatic jungle awaiting for them. After racing for 15 minutes, the two finally reached the endpoint. Surprisingly, both touched the point at the same time. By the time they got there, the dark had begun sprawling its wing. The boys thought of heading back to their home. But before that, they decided to spend some time there enjoying the sunset. That was the first time they were seeing the sun getting lost in the jungle. Both of the boys chit-chat about the jungle, how they find this vast and dense forest so intriguing and how much are they willing to explore it, but the stories related to the forest had always haunted every kid of the town. Though how much they wanted to go inside, they could never gather enough courage to make an entry. Little did they know, a few minutes after they actually were going to go inside. After spending 20 minutes, they got up to ride back home. But just when Alec was about to turn back, he saw something lurking behind the lofty trees. No doubt, the sight gave him a chill. At first, he thought of it as an illusion, but his doubts soon got confirmed when he asked Joe. He confirmed too that he saw something standing behind the trees. The forest and its stories had always been a point of discussion for the town people. Be it the elder ones or kids, all were well aware of its mysterious nature. No doubt, the town was connected to the woods since its beginning. None of them ever dared to go inside it. And those who dared, they never came back. You must be wondering, why is it so? Well, this peaceful town had some very disturbing stories going around that had made the residents lock themselves after the dark used to dawn upon. The woods of the county were not like any other forest. Along with several stories describing the dangerous behavior of wild animals, that was famous for some magic power too. It was believed that the forest had some otherworldly thing going inside it. According to popular belief, the practices used to take place at night. And that is why no one ever dared to roam around after dark. Could it be that what Joe and Alec saw had spotted was related to this unaccepted belief? Now it was the time to decide. What should they do? Should they go inside and check what the thing actually was, or should they just ignore it as if nothing happened and dash back to their home? Both the teenagers felt their hands trembling with fear. Sweat had formed on their forehead that used to make them feel cold whenever a gust of wind brushed them. Eventually, they decided what they should do. Strangely, Joe and Alec were infused by two emotions at one time. Whereas the fear had completely taken over them, they were consumed by curiosity too. They had heard a lot from their mother and grandmothers about the mystery wandering in this jungle for ages, and now they had the chance to explore it. Perhaps what they had seen was just the answer to all those doubts that had been hanging in balance for years. The two decided to go ahead in the jungle. The sunlight had gone dimmer, but there was enough light to locate the object. They moved towards it with a racing heart. Both the best friends were holding their hand while stepping towards it. Alec, after going, even suggested to turn back, but Joe persuaded him to move along. So, was that a wise decision they had made, or were they going to pay a big price? However, both the boys reached the thing and got utterly surprised on watching the object. On the other side, the family of both the kids got under tension. The boys had been out for a very long time, and it was getting darker minute after minute. Besides that, none of the boys had taken their cell phone with them. They had no idea that their boys in the jungle were about to make a startling discovery. Well, it was a car. It may seem a normal car to you, but that was not an ordinary car. In fact, it seemed that the vehicle had been subject to some manhandling. The object was stuck and all abandoned. Perhaps the owner had left the car. With assumptions, many questions popped in the head of the friends. For instance, whose car was that and where was the owner? Was the person in some kind of danger? The things got even more puzzling. Definitely, there was more to this what met the eyes. They decided to investigate further, and what they found next was beyond their imagination. They searched for more clues to find out about the owner. They looked high and low and searched every possible place to get anything of significance. They inspected glove compartments, bent down to check under the seats, and ended their search with checking the trunk. Not only that, the friends even followed the track and areas surrounding the vehicle, expecting something might have fallen off the car. Well, soon they found something of worth. After investigating a while, the boys found a Sam's Club retail card. The card had a name on it, Edwin Kosick. Perhaps the car belonged to the same person. But where was he? No doubt, it was a vital clue that would help them to resolve this unannounced mystery. They had never heard this name before. But they eventually came up with a great idea. The boy decided to search the man on Facebook. No doubt, it was like shooting in the dark, but they had no other options. As it had got dark, the boy decided to head back home. They typed the name, and here the mystery got resolved. Yes, just one search acquainted them with this whole strange situation. The boys had hit the nail on the head. What had the boys found on Facebook? When the boys fed in his name in the search query, they got a list of reports about the person named Edwin Kosick. The man was a 92-year-old federal judge. He was a highly eminent and respected judge who had disappeared into thin air 2 days ago. Now the boys realized what a big thing they had discovered. They needed to do something about it. The boys remembered how they looked at every nook and corner of the car and the area surrounding it, and finding nothing, let alone a human. The boys were shuddering with the amazement. They immediately told their parents about the discovery they just had made. The startled parents did not take much time in calling the police. In no time, their house was thronged with police inquiring them about the car. The boys led the cops to the spot. Yanisko said, "I was a little scared." He continued further, "I didn't think they'd find him alive." However, the officials constituted a big search team after retrieving the car. Along with highly skilled and experienced officers, the team also included trained dogs. The boys gradually began to realize what they had uncovered. The messages were flashing information regarding the disappearance of federal judge all across Pennsylvania on highway message boards. Georgia Fish, Madison Township said, "I'm shocked. I'm very upset because he's a great man and we don't want anything happening to him." As stated earlier, the veteran judge was a well-renowned figure in North Pocono region. Fish too knew him very well. In fact, she was on a very good term with the judge. That is why she wandered all around in search of any clue on Thursday. She stated, "I've gone up the mountain, Aston Mountain, checking the back roads and stuff, just seeing if he made a wrong turn somewhere and got lost." Well, there was no headway for the police in the case. However, the U.S. Marshals came up with an information that remained in dark for long. They confirmed, communications with the family has revealed that Judge Kosick has taken medication to aid in memory loss. The seriousness of the case can be gauged by the fact that the police had to take help of FBI to proceed with the investigation. There was no way they could rule out foul play, as this judge had been serving on the federal bench in Scranton over 30 years. Thereafter, Marshall made another revelation. They accosted that they had got their hand on a surveillance video that shows Kosick entering a Bill's ShopRite in Covington Township, but he found the shop to be closed. The footage was of the night before he went missing. After launching a big search mission that included the filing of missing person paperwork, aerial and grid searches around the last known location, the police learned that the old man had disappeared from his home that was in the vicinity of Scranton. They even managed to find out the time. It was 1:30 a.m. Kosick's disappearance shook the entire legal community to the core. Chris Powell, who is a defense and civil attorney, had argued before Judge Kosick for many years. He said, "We want to know what happened to him. And everybody has their opinion, as lawyers, among themselves. I was just over in court this morning and it's on everybody's mind." The last time the judge was spotted donning blue winter coat and jeans. The marshal appealed to the public to call 911 if they happened to spot the judge. The family was in grief and were extremely worried about him. Perhaps he forgot where was he and got panicked after finding himself all alone. The clock was ticking. Police needed to solve the case as fast as possible. His photo had been circulated all over the country through media. But was it going to help them? But nothing helped the case as much as one of the police dogs that made police discover the police. Named K9, the police dog soon picked up the scent of Kosick and started tracing it with police behind to reach to the 92-year-old's location that was away by only 1 meter yards. The police found Kosick lying unconscious on the ground. Fortunately, the man was breathing life. Police tried to talk to him after getting him back to the senses. The old man seemed all right. He replied coherently to all their questions. In fact, the man did not fail to notice one of the marshal's new haircut. Then the officials asked him what had happened to him. When the marshal was asked about the judge's condition, the marshal replied by highlighting the possibility of Kosick lying down there for 2 days straight. He said, "I don't know exactly how long he was in this state for, but it is very possible that he was there the whole time." Why did they think so? Well, the old man had worn the same jeans and jacket at the time of his disappearance when he got discovered. Kosick was immediately rushed to the hospital to check if there was any injury or not. The judge's son, attorney Michael Kosick, revealed that his father had survived a severe injury afflicting his ribs. It took him 2 years to recuperate from that. The ambulance drove him to the Geisinger Community Medical Center to get him checked properly. The hospital's spokesperson told the media that he was in a fair condition. Though the media was still having their questions unanswered. What was he doing yards away from his car? And why was he lying on the ground? Well, the reason behind Judge's condition was still not cleared. One thing that had come to the surface was the fact that veteran Judge was taking medicine for his memory problems. The health problems had affected his professional life. The man got his status changed to inactive in the top of the year. Had the boys taken their discovery lightly, the chances were that the police could have never found him. The efforts and help of Delvecchio and Yanisko in locating the missing old man were acknowledged by the U.S. Marshal Martin Payne. With all the facts put together, the people gathered that his disappearance was the result of his memory problem. As far as what exactly happened that day, the police concluded that he must have got collided with the logs. He must have forgotten where was he heading and what was he doing there. Therefore he would have got panicked, and while running he must have collapsed. Payne thanked the boys. "We're very thankful to these 2 young men that they saw this vehicle, happened to be in this area, fortunately." Delvecchio, who himself wants to be a police officer, expressed his ecstasy on being a helping hand to the police in search of the famous personality. He explained, "We're glad he's okay, glad that we could help out." Though the young helpers were soon dubbed as heroes by the public, Delvecchio did not agree with that. Instead, he called the time the real hero. He said, "At the right place at the right time. They are happy that they could come of some use to the police." The boys are even willing to meet the judge. One more point worth noting here is that the boys proved everyone wrong who considers the young generation as a careless one. The boys could have run away, but instead, they did the right thing. They told their parents and helped police in finding him out. But would they, or the police for that matter, ever be able to find out the real mystery? For Edwin and Edwin's son, the boys are the saviors. They could not thank them enough and admired them wherever they could. Edwin's son said, "I don't know how I can ever repay them for helping to bring my father back to me. The teenagers who helped in locating the missing judge were honored in Lackawanna County. That also in front of their proud parents and awestruck classmates at their school, Dunmore High School. That must have been a day for them. Not only that the judge himself graced the event by showing up. He said, "It was an honor to watch them receive their award. I am here today because of them."